Hello everybody. Today I wanted to take you on a tour of our racks and all of our snakes here at Rhyno's Royals. Also wanted to say thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers and then some. Thank you so much for the support and for watching and liking our videos. Really does mean a lot. We plan to keep bringing you videos every single week, but with that said, let's get into this one right now. I'm not sure if we've ever actually done a video in the snake room before, but you can see our setup right here. I try to keep the males mostly down here. I do have a couple in other places just because I've got plans on where to move things. The males I do with orange and put the M next to them. And the females, as you can see, they're pink. But let's go ahead and get started up here. And I'm actually just gonna bring this entire one down. This little guy's name is Dillinger. We got him a while back. He is a fire pastel het clown Russo. Tag has actually not been updated yet. He was possible Russo, but he is. Firefly is basically the fire pastel. And this Russo gene brings in a lot more brightening. It's hard to see by itself, but it's actually a blue-eyed leucistic gene. And then obviously the het clown is just one copy of the clown gene, so you don't see that in him, but he has the genetic material to make visual clowns in him. It remains to be seen if I'm gonna keep this guy or not. He is siring his first clutch. If it's what I kind of expect, I will let him go probably. All right, next up would be my Enchi pastel, which could be possible super pastel Pied. I named him Dave because I got him from Dave Kaufman. He is a first-time breeder this year and also has a clutch in the incubator right now. There's one or two other girls I have him paired to as well. He's a little bit more on the smaller side. What I really love about the Enchi and Pieds in general is this orange they have right along their edging. It's just so cool. Enchi brings in a lot of pattern typically in Pieds as well. It creates this orangish look along them and blows up their pattern even more than Pied typically blows it up. Again, I'm not sure if I'll have him long term. He was a means to an end in terms of a project. I think I want to move up and get a little bit more of a powerhouse Pied male here soon. But for now, he's doing great. Taking a break from some of the males, we're going to move to Vayda, which is a female red striped clown. And she's sitting in her bowl. They will do that from time to time. It's never really too much of a concern. Sometimes it means they're going in shed and whatnot. But she's growing quite well. I think I got her half a year ago, and red stripe is a really interesting gene because by itself isn't a massive thing, but it is one of those that kind of pushes more towards those rusty reds, especially when you combine it with clown. She's very nice. I can't wait to get some combos into her. What I really like about her is the blushing in here, how it brings some of these rusty reds in there, and it even increases the coloring in the pattern itself. You can see it kind of fade from a lighter to a darker pattern and these little lava, almost melting chocolate type looks on her back. I can't wait till she gets the size. I'm very excited about what I can do with her as well. Next up would be my black pastel banana het clown, and I absolutely love these purples. And as they grow, sometimes bananas will change obviously into a two-tone yellow, but the banana black pastel still keep these oranges and yellows, and these stay this purplish, bruised type color. It is so nice, and just her patterns in and of itself are so cool. It's not your standard pattern, these little circles. It looks like almost like screaming faces coming out of hell. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just so cool. And of course they still get the speckling. I know some people could do without them, but I think it's super nice, and I think it adds a ton of character because you don't get that really anywhere else. Sometimes you get them on Pied, and she's maintained these nice flaming colors. I love the contrast between the orange and the yellow on her. Again, can't wait for her to get to size. Moving on would be one that I have not shown off at all yet, and actually just secured and brought into our family a day ago. I worked out a deal and got what my wife has named Rhea, which is a banana clown possible leopard. From my understanding, leopard was in the pairing. I don't know if that has leopard in it or not, but one of the better things about her is her size. She's 1,250 grams. I should be able to get her ready for next breeding season in the fall when I do my pairings. If all goes well, I should be getting some banana clowns with what I pair her with as well, which I think will have Spotnose in there as well, and it would be clown to clown, so everything would be clown. And then if you know how the banana gene works in females, I should get 50-50 like a normal clutch would be. All those males that come from this will be female makers. So I'm pretty excited about this, and if for some reason she does prove out to be leopard, what I'm pairing her with, as I said, would be Spotnose, so I could get banana Batmans, which I can't remember if that's called the Gotham or the Scarecrow, but those are cool. Next up would be Harley, my super pastel Russo clown. You can tell she's deep in shed. I would say the way she looks currently, other than the eyes, is how most super pastel clowns would look. I feel like most super pastels, clowns that is, kind of turn this color as they grow old, this brown. It's the famous brownout, but she is way brighter than this typically, so I find the Russo kind of eliminates at least a little bit of that super pastel brownout as they grow older. Next up would be my super orange dream yellow belly possible clown, and I was told this is a possible clown, meaning that it came from a possible clown, but she's really gorgeous. I want to start doing freeways, and at first I was thinking maybe ivories and such, but I don't want to just do normal freeways. I'd like to get a little bit of something in there, and orange dream adding to freeways is always very, very nice. My thought process is eventually I'll pick up a male. Now, I plan to get her genetic tested beforehand, because if she is het clown, that changes what male I would get. But she's really nice, and she started off pretty well. I don't think she'll be ready this coming October, but I really do think the year after that she will be. She keeps these very nice creamy oranges, and I'm excited for her just in and of the freeway project that she represents for me, in doing something a little more than just your normal freeways, which are beautiful, but she can add a little bit more of that great orange that Orange Dream brings. Next up would be my Het Monarch. We just showed her off in the pickups video. She's growing quite well. She looks gorgeous, and even though she mostly looks just like a normal, her potential obviously is that Het Monarch gene. I mentioned this in the video where I showed her off that I picked her up, but something with Monarch that it's becoming believed could be a marker is their tail. You can see up here, it kind of has the more normal type look. The alien head's right here, but as you go towards the back, it squishes out into this mashed up hilly type pattern on both sides of it. And that's something that if you're going het to het, maybe you could use it as an indicator. Take that with a grain of salt, but I do see it. All the Het Monarchs I see have that. Next up would be that boy, which we named Milk Dud, because he kind of looks like a Milk Dud. And he is just so gorgeous. Every single time I just want to come and look at him. Just the absolute gorgeous mahoganies on him, and these oranges on his sides. The contrast is so gorgeous. I can't wait to put him into just about everything. But his coloration is just so absolutely stunning. I don't know if the camera is properly getting these nice beautiful browns, but they're even more of a dark mahogany, almost like a brownish with just a hint of purplish in there. They are really, really sharp, and that's what I love about Monarch. This is cool, these colors, and that's the difference I think between this and some of the other T+ albino snakes. They have this here, but then this turns into another type of almost yellow or orange. This stays this way. I get the comparisons to Ultramel, but when they get old especially, it's not there. This is where it separates itself, right there, and then the cleanliness. Absolutely stunning animal, and there's not much that has been explored on this gene yet. This is what they look like when they're older. Sometimes they lighten up a little bit, but that's the extent of it. And as you can see, most of the time, the way they're born is the way they stay. And you don't get that a lot in ball pythons. Next up would be my best breeding clown. And we call him King, even though he doesn't have a name here, and it's a GHI Spotnose clown. He's also 66% het hypo. This is probably one of my most favorite snakes here. Not just in looks, he's gorgeous. The GHI and Spotnose just works so good together. I obviously have plans for him in multiple areas. He is breeding as well, but I love what the GHI does. He's mostly just a puppy dog though. That's why I love him. Comes out every single time I open the container and he's just waiting. I really like just interacting with him. He's gorgeous and he's just got such a great temperament. The flaming at the bottom, the nice yellows that are surrounded by these dark highlights, the faded like tangy orange in the middle of his dorsal stripes. There's just so much to love here. He was a bit darker as a baby, but you know, as he gets older, I actually appreciate him for what he's becoming there. This right here has become more pronounced, and one thing he has most certainly kept are these speckled little spots right here, and that's from the GHI. The GHI is going to bring these black spots in there, just overall darken the snake. So I've got a lot of plans for him, and he is going to be paired next year to the Banana Clown, possible Leopard, because if she is Leopard, then I get Banana Batmans with GHI in them. I'm not sure if that's been created or not, but I've been kind of chasing Batman. I know people have done it before, and I don't care. I want my own. Next up would be one of my first males that I have had for a breeder. And this guy is a spitfire, and I don't mean that in a bad way. He's got a great attitude, but look at that, look at that. He loves to breed, and we call him Anubis. This is what got me into bamboo. I love bamboo, and I've said this many times before. Bamboo is just so unique, and it does so much. I just had to pay attention when I first saw it. This is a bamboo pinstripe pastel, otherwise known as bamboo lemon blast. You can see the yellows kind of coming in his face and such. This dude I have so many stories about. He's the first snake snake that ever bit me because he loves food so much and I wasn't paying attention and he shot out, grabbed my thumb. He also tried to eat my shorts one day. It's not a joke. He bit my shorts and missed the good parts, thankfully, and wrapped my shorts up and tried to depants me. He doesn't follow the ball python formula of picky eater. This guy will eat anything. He thinks he's a reticulated python and therefore I love him. Just a wonderful, wonderful attitude. Next up would be Micah. I got Micah as a full-blown breeder as well. He is an albino, 100% Het Pied, and he's created some of the snakes I've held back of visual albino pied. I don't know if I'll keep Micah forever. He's a very timid and tame snake, so I do kind of like him. He's very nice as well. Also, if you see little bugs in this picture, they are not mites. Do not worry. This is a gnat. Gnats do not harm them. They are very annoying and I hate them though. We put up fly trap stuff and I changed this stuff out. It doesn't matter. You can see that as albinos age, they do bleed a little bit of that yellow into the whites, but they still do maintain a very nice contrast. Micah is also one of my first males that I ever had. I bought him as an adult and he has done his job for me. He's always maintained a little bit of a skinnier look here, but he's a very nice snake. And albinos are one of the more older recessive morphs, but they're popular and they remain popular, and there's a reason for that. It's because they're so different, they're so cool, and they're so unique that they still spark quite a demand. This guy means a lot to me. He's one of the first snakes that I had a bit of a health issue with, and I don't know if I've ever talked about this before, but he had a bit of bump here, and I thought it was cancer. I took him to the vet, and I expected them to say he was gonna have to get put down, and they said, nope, there's some hard poop in there. And then they put some stuff up there and they pushed it out. And then the very next week, it kind of happened again. But this time it was small enough and they had taught me at the vet how to do it. So I took care of it. All right, next up, we've got Kai, who was my first, I think, male clown I ever got. He's a male Enchi Pastel. I am absolutely in love with the head stamps of Enchi clowns, and there's no difference here. It's so cool. It looks like a little trident. This is like a tribal tattoo. It's so cool. And then this little like horned pattern right up here. That's something you see in like a secret society. But he's helped me create my very first visual clowns, many of which I currently have for sale, actually. Really love the Enchi clowns and what it does to the pattern. Creates this wonderful dorsal stripe. It brings in lots of oranges and whatnot. His babies are all very much colored, more like his head there. Now I know as they grow, they change and they very likely will brown out here, but there's other genes in them too. So he's really, really nice and brought me my very first clowns. Next up would be Gold Dust, who's named for the old wrestler Gold Dust. He is a Het albino, Het candy, and Het Pied. So what that means is you think, why is a triple Het snake look like that? And that is because Het albino and Het candy are allelic, and you get a Candino. He himself keeps these little purples. You can see the difference here between him and Micah. Technically, there's only one gene off. This is a visual albino, so 2 copies of albino Het Pied. That is 1 copy of albino, 1 copy of candy, and then the Het Pied. And that's the difference you get. These nice lavenders instead of these whites. They also, I think, have a different colored eyes. They will often have darker ruby red eyes. This guy has gold eyes. You can see them. They're not red, really. They're more of a gold. At risk of my knees, I'm going to stay down here and show off another snake here called Genesis, who is in shed. Of course she's in shed. And this is one of Anubis's babies. I had her labeled at one point as a bamboo pastel pinstripe. I'm now very confident that she is just bamboo pinstripe. And that's fine, actually, because her sister we're going to show off next is a copy of her dad. She's a little bit more than meets the eye, though. She's also Het Pied. And I've talked about this before, about how when I was a little bit newer, how I just needed to make some pairings, and Anubis, I paired him with the mom, which is above here, which is a pied possible Het albino. So I figured I would try to go for pied bamboos. Now, pied bamboos have been done before, and they're very white snakes, if not almost all white snakes, so why would I do that? I am trying, using Dave, which I showed off earlier, to introduce pinstripe and Enchi into a bamboo pied. The reason for this is because both of those genes are known to bring pattern to pied. So I want to reverse what bamboo does to pied while keeping the cool coloration that I love. So if I can succeed, which I don't know if I will be able to, I will have a bamboo pied that will have more pattern, and that is the objective, and I don't know if it will work. And if I don't get the results I want, I'll probably put her and her sister up for sale. But I wanted to do one without Pastel, which is her. And the next one up, I won't talk about quite as much because Again, it's the same thing. She didn't grow at the same rate, so I didn't breed her this year. But you can see the difference here. Now, obviously, the other one was in pastel, but look at that head. See the yellows? That is a pastel. And often when they're born, it's hard to tell, but as they get older, they get this yellow on the head. But she is nice and very gorgeous, and I guess if I had to keep one of them, I'd probably keep her. So I don't know if she will stay. I guess that really just depends on if for some reason this project that I was working on pans out, because nobody's made those before, so I can't tell you if I'll be successful in bringing pattern into the bamboo pied. But regardless, I will plan to bring those results once I have created it to everyone so that they can determine if this is a project that they want to continue and move ahead in. My guess is that it won't be significant enough. Next up would be Maleficent, who is very appropriately named. She has a very standoffish attitude, but at the same time, she is one of my favorite ones here. She is currently building, and in fact, are we catching a ovulation right now? I don't know. She hides her ovulations in her pregnancy very well. I have misjudged her timing very often, but that looks like pretty well of a swell there. You can see right here her standoffish attitude, but she's never bit me, but she's struck at me many times, and she has headbutt me, but I absolutely love her. She has created for me both Albino Pieds and Candino Pieds. Now we're moving on to Big Bertha, who is visual pied, 66% head albino, and she has laid very recently. That's why she seems a little empty. I have a theory that this snake is blind. If you look at her eyes, they have this ghostly slit of the pupil, and I have a theory that she's blind because she acts goofy and weird. I typically feed her smaller prey than what she could take down, because one time she also got a very bad rap. I observed when I feed, so I was there to break that one up, but yeah. But she's super cool, super unique. She's got a clutch for me currently in the incubator, which she laid, I think, a couple weeks ago. Next up is another pied girl that I have. She also laid not very long ago. So one of hers are also in the incubator. I've often thought that she has a little something else in her, but I haven't been able to prove it yet. But you see these jagged edges, and you get that, I think, with yellow belly. She's also got other indicators to me. Just kind of just tells me that she's a little bit something else. Somebody tried to tell me fire once. I don't know. I didn't get enough look or anything like that from her babies last year to know for sure. Just a little bit of a conundrum with this and this. Just some indicators that that's more than meets the eye. It was sold to me as a pied, but I think there might be something else, but can't be certain, and I don't say that until I know for sure. Next up is one I really love, and this is an Albino Pied, and she is the baby of Micah, which I showed off earlier, and Maleficent down there. I am in love with this snake, with the coloration and the oranges that she's kept. This is not just what you normally get. You would be thinking that there might be more than meets the eye here, but it's just Albino Pied, and you can see how sometimes that bleeding in for the whites on the albinos and whatnot. She's got some nice peaking and contrast on here, but I like low white. She is absolutely amazing. I can't wait to start breeding her as well. I'm gonna give her till October and I'll breed her then. She's got such a good size and a good girth. I'm very happy with this animal. Coming up next would be Dottie, which is a pastel orange stream leopard het clown and 50% het pied. Here's another one that I probably could have cheated on and bred this year. She is, I think, just at 1,500 grams or just under, but I chose not to because, again, she wasn't this size when I started pairing in October, and she's barely the size right now. She will be ready in October though, and I will definitely pair her to King to go for Batmans. Not all leopards are created equal, and this is at the top echelon of leopard. What you get from the leopard is these dark blacks, and that is one of the main reasons I got her, was for that Batman, and the OD is great, and if she ends up being het pied, wow, 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 the sort of things I can do from her. She's gorgeous, and I'm so excited. Next year is gonna be, I think, just such a good year for us. Next up would be Orissa, my lesser clown, and I got her when she was a little baby, and she is breeding for me this year. She's one of the first clowns I got, along with Harley, her sister. I'm breeding this one here to King, and that will be my first clown clutch from him, and they're both first-time breeders, so that is always a bit of a risk. Not really to the health to them, but in terms of my success rate for viable clutches. But, you know, sometimes you make decisions like that, and I definitely wouldn't put their own health at risk. Next up, we have a clown spider. I've appropriately named her Pennywise. Spider clown, get it? Anyway, she is a late breeder for me. It's the only spider that I'm keeping in my collection anymore, and it's gonna be a female, so I'll only produce spiders once a year, and I don't have strong feelings one way or the other about spider, but it is what it is. I do really like this girl. She produces very well for me. She had a 12-egg clutch in her second year. Moving on would be Aurora, who was at one point a very good eater for me and decided to be a punk. She is on a long hunger strike for me. She hit that 1,000-gram gram wall and stayed right there. And she has not dropped a single gram since then. She should have been able to be bred by now, but she chose to go off food for now, and that happens. At some point, my objective is to create beautiful, somewhat more pet quality / early investment quality snakes out of her, because she is gorgeous. And when she was a baby, she was fire. She's named Aurora, otherwise known as Amaterasu, which is Japanese for, I think, the sun god. And there was a reason for that, and she still maintains these fiery, beautiful patterns and colors. I didn't even talk about what she was. Oh my lord. She's albino, Enchi, and pinstripe. But this creates these beautiful oranges and these flamings. It's just almost like a solar flare. Next up would be Godzilla. Godzilla. He glows in the dark. Alright, anyway,
that's staying in the video.
Mystic Fire Pastel Pinstripe. I've actually put her up for sale. She's not on my morph market. I'm on the offense with her. I no longer want to have as many things without a recessive in them, but I really do like her. She has these nice creamy colors. She's about 1,000 grams at this point. If she gets much bigger, I'll just keep her just for the fact that I don't have anything else to put in her spot right now, and I plan to move on from at least a couple males here, so I'll have plenty of room for females. And if I've got the room for her and she gets the breeding size, why not just keep her for at least one clutch? But right now, she is for sale. She gets much bigger, she won't be though. Next up would be the appropriately named white snake. She is a lesser butter visual hypo. Now, what I mean by visual hypo is obviously this is a white snake because she's a bell. Lesser and butter are both blue-eyed leucistic complex, so you get a blue-eyed leucistic snake. She is being bred right now. She's also being bred to King, my GHI Spotnose Clown 66% het hypo, and that's because I want to try to prove him out for hypo. Now, obviously she's a little bit brighter white typically, but she's had this nice little orange stripe down her dorsal since I've gotten her. I am always really excited. I hope that my boy proves that as het hypo and that she can bring that to the table and prove him as that. But in and of herself, it's cool to always have a snake that's just white. Next up would be my normal Artemis. I have two normals and both of them are funky. I know everybody says that, right? Every normal is funky. Every normal is special. My normal's not normal. Well, sorry to disappoint, but I feel the same way. She's produced some real goofy babies for me. This is the snake that we showed off in our respiratory infection video, actually. She's got some really nice dark colors and she's produced really goofy babies for me in the past, and you know, we'll see what we get out of her. I don't know if I'll keep her for long. I do want to keep one normal. She is breeding as well, and I think that she could be due soonish. Next we've got Vahala, which is a Mystic Fire. I was hoping that she would go for me this year, but she went on a long hunger strike. I don't know if she will or not, but I've always really appreciated the look of these types of snakes. This kind of grayed down and then this color here again. It's not like the Monarch, but it kind of reminds me of that look. And I've used her to create also some bells for me. So I usually breed her to Anubis over there. But look at these cool patterns that they create. It's like some letterings. Aob. Never saw that. Aob. What does that stand for?
Oh, there's a C right there, see? Wait, there. That's like a sideways C.
It's not a sideways C.
Kyob.
Oh my god, no. It's Aob. All old ball pythons. That was stupid. Come up with what it says in the comments. Anyways, that's usually what you get. Mystic is actually very similar to Mojave in that you get these keyhole type patterns, and then obviously the fire lightens the snake up. So very neat snake. I really like her quite a bit. Next up would be Pacer, who was sold to me as a het albino, but I don't think she is. I do think she's something funky though, as like I said before, because that pattern is just way goofy and it goes over her back and connects, and she has a clutch that she just laid. 10 egg clutch from this girl this year, and I bred her to a first time male in Dillinger, the first snake I showed in this video. Again, not really expecting too much craziness out of that. This is just kind of me trying to throw Dillinger out there one time to see what he can do before I probably sell him. I think I'll keep this girl though. I absolutely love this animal. She's a high producer. Her babies have always been very healthy. And then again, look at this pattern. There's no alien head. Not a single one on this normal. Well, if you notice something changed, it's because we took a bit of a break because it was getting crazy hot in here and we wanted to go see Guardians of the Galaxy. So, moving on. Almost done with anything that would be basically almost breeder ready, but this girl is anything but almost. She's also another snake that breeds late for me, and she is just a gigantic Enchi girl. She's easily the biggest snake I own. She's very, very thick, and she's just a really good breeder and a really good snake in general. I really like her. Not sure if I'll ever move on from her. At some point, that could definitely happen, but right now there's no plan just because of how big she is. This would be the first snake I ever made. Her name is Reisa. It's Old Norse for beginning, and she is a bamboo pastel pinstripe. Also, Anubis's first daughter, really. It's the first snake I ever cut, and this is the egg she came out of. She's really, really nice, and I promised to show you some of the goofy babies that they are throwing. This was Artemis's daughter, so it was just an interesting looking snake, but look at that. What on earth is this speckled, almost black and different shades of black, almost gives off some purple hues, and it's not just on this side. It goes pretty much the entire length of the snake, and it's on the other side too. I've seen maybe other bamboos kind of like that too, so I don't know if it's anything special. She's the only one I ever got like this. This is just something cool and unique. There's another lot of that paradoxing that bamboos give. They do this a lot of these oranges. Moving on would be Enya, who is a caramel albino pied. She should hopefully be breeding this year for me for the first time. I got her for a pretty good deal, because I think that they were just looking to get out of the caramel project. Not really in it for the caramel, but I will be creating triple hets. I have her breeding to Kai, which would be clown. So I'd be getting het clowns, het caramel, het pied. Also, if you hear some noises in the background, that's our cat. But yeah, she's very gorgeous. That's this dude who won't stop, and if he sits outside, he'll just keep meowing because he is being in the ass. So he stands outside the door, meowing non-stop. If he comes in here, he runs around and makes a bunch of noise too. On to our next one, which is just a het pie girl, and she should be going soon as well. You can see how big she is. She gave me a lot of pies last year. She is going to Dave, an Enchi pastel, possible super pastel pie. She's not really advancing any of my big projects. She's just creating pies and pie combos that I don't plan to hold any back from her when she lays them. So here's all of our hatchlings currently. Well, not all of them, but this is the majority of my hatchling rack. As you can see, most are empty because the breeding season has not hit yet, and this is mostly just for preparation for if all my snakes do go. This one is a holdback. Now these two here are the same. It's not an albino, I just haven't updated this yet. When they're born, Candinos look like albinos, but as they grow, they get, just like the father, these nice lavenders. And here is a visual Candino Pied, very low white. And she's in shed. We'll try to show her later. I'm keeping her though, but she's very low white pied. You can see it there, and you can see it there, but she's got that pied pattern. There's no alien heads here, not a single bit. But I really love these nice dark lavenders. She's got this nice tinge of orange just running along her belly, and then the creamy yellows. And her sister, who is not in sheds, you can see she's also very low white. She's got more oranges on her. Still a wonderful pattern. And then she's got this nice white that the pieds bring in for contrast too. So she's got the lavenders, the yellows, the oranges, whites. What's not to love? All right, moving on over here, I have the only snake I really have displayed in this from, and that would be my Arizona Mountain King Snake boy. Arizona Mountain King Snakes just have a really beautiful color. It's just almost like tribal in a way. If you just look at the almost hourglass blacks, like right there, next to the cream colored whites, and then the, you know, obviously you get that blood orange. And these guys just have a unique attitude to them. They're a little bit more even tempered. They're not willing to just bite you for the heck of it typically. He's a really cool dude. I've got a girlfriend for him. I'll show you off here in a bit. And I plan to get more girls and maybe one more boy and maybe work an albino line because I'm going into king snakes, and it's going to be Arizona Mountain King Snakes. Here's another holdback. She's just getting a little bit bigger, and eventually I'm going to find some room for her in a different container, but we showed her off in our pickups video. This would be my female Sterling puzzle. So Sterling is super pastel cinnamon. She's also possible what they call het daddy, and that's not an actual recessive. It's literally just called het daddy or weirdo. Right now I plan to grow her out and put her to some stuff and create some double hets and try for some stuff that I think would be really, really cool. I don't know if it's been done. I don't think it has, because if I knew it had been done, I would look and see if it was cool. I'm just really liking and digging what puzzle does to animals, and the cinnamon and everything like that is just a super big bonus. We're pretty much almost done here. There's two more snakes in another room I haven't shown off yet because they're just pet snakes. Other than that, we have the incubator. Actually, incubators. There's one snake in a rack back here. This rack is not my favorite rack. Let's just leave it at that. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to open. But here's a female Arizona Mountain King Snake. She is a doll. I very much enjoy interacting with this girl. She will relax, is calm. He is not bad, but he does not want to relax. He is more flighty, but she'll just like this. It's very, very good animal. Really like her, and I'm gonna grow her out, and I'm gonna get more Arizona Mountain King Snakes, and this is gonna be my colubrid rack in here. And then I want to show something here real quick before we go. This was not the greatest luck on a clutch. So out of this one, I got 3 good eggs and 3 slugs, but one of those good eggs is a boob egg. Now, I want to show you this because it is the only time I've had something quite like this. I was a little disappointed, but you can already see through the fogginess what I'm talking about, right? One of these is not like the other. No, I'm not going to disturb the egg because it's already going to need as much hope as it can get. And that will be its name if it lives. So you can see, good veins, we got a good egg. Good veins, got a good egg. When I saw this one, I was like, God dang. You can see the boob egg on the back of it right there. On the back. So this is a boob egg is what they call it, but that is a small egg, right? I didn't anticipate much hope, especially since 2 other ones were slugs. So I figured, shoot, I only got 2 good eggs, right? There's veins. And there's a snake in the bottom of that. I don't know if it'll make it, but I'm gonna give it literally every chance that I can. But there's not a lot of room for it to develop in the egg, so I just worry that it's gonna get to a certain size and then die because it has no more room to grow. I also worry about its ability to cut itself out of the egg. Now, I cut eggs anyways, but I think I might cut that egg at day 55 because there's not gonna be a lot of yolk in there for it to absorb anyway. So I think I'm gonna cut it at day 55 because I don't want it to drown in the egg. Something like that is gonna have to have very small prey items, and well, good chance I might have to assist feed it. Even if I get it to full term, I'm gonna have struggles with it, but I'm gonna give it every chance in the world. Of course I am. Maybe we'll do some updates and follow-ups on that when we do the egg cutting. I hope it's a really nice story. That's why I named it Hope. I hope it's a very good, happy ending, but I don't know. It's not the greatest of odds, to say the least, but we're gonna give it every chance we can. There's 2 other snakes. They're in another room. That one's name is Gwen, and that is my very first snake ever. I am actually deciding to breed him. I thought I wasn't going to, ever. I thought it was a female when I got it. I've told the story a few times. And then my wife's snake, Hercules, is also a bamboo pinstripe, I think. I don't think he has pastel in him. He's in there as well, but I will never breed him. Why would I when I've got something a little bit more strong than the dad? My wife liked him, and he's a good tempered snake, so you know I had to keep him. We're gonna go ahead and end it there. Again, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. It really means a lot. It's still so humbling, especially going to shows and having people walk up to me and talk to me and recognize me. And I just want to thank you for telling us that you enjoy the content. Again, big thanks to the guy behind the camera. I don't know if he'll ever show his face. Are you gonna do it? That was stupid. But yeah, if he keeps it in here, he edits all the videos. That guy right there.
Yep.
He edits all the videos and basically directs me when I've missaid something and edits out all my ums. But yeah, give us ideas if you've got any for videos, if you'd like to see something. Love to hear what you have to say. Definitely want to cater what people would like. If you liked this video, you can actually check out, I don't know, whatever you want to put. Right there.
I can't put it there.
Put it there.
That's out of the screen.
Put it there.
Yeah, that works. I'm not cutting that.
Okay.